Hey there, super friends. Jonathan Levy here, and today I am going to walk you through how you can use superlearner methodology and advanced mnemonic techniques to learn something that is really challenging for a lot of people, and that is the circle of fifths and other types of music theory. So if you already know a little bit about music theory, you probably already know all about the circle of fifths. But if you are not a musician, you might look at this and say, what the heck does it mean? Well, the circle of fifths is basically a diagram that's drawn up that helps us understand what are the exact notes that are and are not in every single one of the keys. So if I'm in the key of C, I know that I have 0 sharps and flats. If I'm in the key of G, I know that I have 1. D, I have 2, so on and so forth. Now, this can be so overwhelming, despite being so powerful. When you first look at it, you just can be completely overwhelmed. I know I was the first time that I dove into music theory not so long ago. And so what I did was I developed a method for essentially committing this to memory so that I can always have it there and I don't have to use rote memorization in order to memorize all of this stuff. And the way that we do this will not be a surprise to you if you're in our Superlearner classes. We do it by building what's called a memory palace. Now, if you don't know about memory palaces, you can go throughout the other parts of the course here and you can learn what a memory palace is. But basically, it is a imagined palace of memories where you store visualized images that represent pieces of information. So you'll see I have duplicated this as a memory palace. And what I've done is I've added C, G, D, so on and so forth, every single one of the keys. This memory palace is actually my recording studio that I'm standing in right now, complete with the Persian rug and everything so that I know where it is, complete with the cutout for the closet, which I've removed the doors, and I'll get into in a moment walking you through it. But what's important about this is that I've created stations for each one of the different keys. Now you'll note that I have not put the minor keys on here yet. I've only put the major ones on, and I will explain why that is in a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look in the memory palace, and I'll show you guys exactly how this works. The first thing you're going to notice in my memory palace, and obviously this is a recreation of the one in my brain, is that it is set up like the hands of a clock. It is designed to be replicating the circle of fifths, and although it uses a square room, unfortunately I don't have a circular room, and this turns out to be beneficial because having a circular room would be a little bit subjective as to where exactly the angles are. You'll notice the first marker that I have, the first location in my memory palace, is C for computer. I know that that is 0 sharps and flats. Now we go over and we go to G. That is a green plant. I know that that has 1 sharp or flat. Now you might ask, which one? Which sharp or which flat? Well, it turns out that in the circle of fifths, all you have to do is rotate back 1. So for example, C has 0, G has F, D has F and C, A will have B flat, F, and C, and so on. And you just rotate back 1, and then you will know all the flats. And in time, you will actually learn that, well, a key signature has to have, if it has C, it has to have, or I'm sorry, if it has C sharp, it has to have F sharp. So, carrying on, I have D for derby. It's a picture of a horse. A, I actually have a bunch of army men on the wall, but you can have an airplane, or you can have Amy Winehouse, or you can have any number of things, and it's important to personalize these and make them into your own visual markers that are memorable to you. I personally have earrings nailed into the corner of the wall in my memory palace, but this software did not actually have earrings, so I used an emergency fire hydrant. For B, we have a stack of books. For me, I actually have a bass trap, which is glued to the wall in my recording studio. Now we get into the tougher stuff. What happens when we have F sharp? We already had F, so we want to vary it up. So I use a knife that is effing sharp. You guys can see any kind of association will work here. What about C sharp? Well, for me, I imagine in my memory palace someone looking through the door at my screen, which is across the way from the door, and seeing how sharp my recording is. But you could also have a clock with knife hands, C sharp. For A flat, that's a tough one, but what I did is I took a flat alarm clock, and since A flat is also the same as G sharp, you might have noticed on the circle of fifths, what I have is a G-Shock watch in the closet here. Moving on, we have E flat. Just imagine everything's flat. So I have a bunch of shelves in the closet. Now for B flat, I actually used a honeybee being squished in the corner of the room, but they actually didn't have a honeybee in the software, so instead I have a butterfly, B flat. Now for F, I just put a camera, a film camera, and that one worked really, really well for me. You could also have, since F is the same as E sharp, there's no actual E sharp, but it helps you to remember. You could have everything is sharp on this film camera. So that's just a really, really basic way of using a memory palace, but it's so powerful. You guys will see as you try to learn this stuff, it's so easy to commit this to memory, and you can use my virtual memory palace, or you can create your very own memory palace of your own place. All you need to do is divide it up so that you know. I know, for example, that the corners are going to be D and E and A and B flat, and that's it. And this honestly took me, guys, 20 minutes to develop and memorize, and now I know the circle of fifths. My next challenge is going to be learning the minor keys, and most likely what I'm going to actually do is shift things over by 3. You see, if I shift things over by 3 and also go in the opposite direction, it actually works out to be the same exact order of things, just shifted off by 3. So what I might do is, if I'm in the minor key, I might shift left 3, and that will essentially work out for me. If you guys look here, see, you shift left 1, 2, 3, and now you are in the key of C minor, which will have 3. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to build another memory palace, which is a good option. Or you could do high and low, for example. So at the top of the room, you could have the major keys, in the corners, the ceiling corners of the room. Or at the bottom of the room, you could have the minors. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest, about actually doing that because I don't want to have bleed in between the different markers that I've created. And as I went through, I kind of put things on the table, on the ground, on the walls. So I've already memorized this way. Probably what I'm going to do is just piggyback off of this existing memory palace and remember that I have to shift things over 3 times. But I hope that was very, very helpful for you guys, and you learned a lot, and that you'll actually go out there and do it and learn all these different musical keys. All right, super friends, that's all the time we have today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a lot out of it. If some of the concepts were a little bit over your head or were a little bit confusing, I want to invite you guys to check out a completely free 1-hour seminar with me where I'll go into great depth on exactly how these techniques work, how you can build your own memory palaces, and so much more. All you have to do is hit the link below. Otherwise, make sure you like and subscribe because we're putting out new videos with great learning strategies every single week. Thanks so much.